Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Friday.
Yo.
Ah!
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Give me I'm an old man now. Give me a heart attack, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hi.
What's up, kids?
How is everyone?
Nice.
Good.
Not
You guys
bad.
can hear me with my
Wow.
headset.
Yeah, but your speakers are still on.
Yes.
Or they might be on your phone.
For you.
Might be on your
It's the
phone.
phone. It's the phone.
Can you
Oh,
guys
it's
hear
the
me?
phone. I
We
hear
can hear
Steve.
you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right,
I hear-
Bob,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Halloween is over.
I'm listening loud and clear to what
And why
is
are you
going
dressing up and coming to my house tomorrow?
Because you oddly schedule your Halloween party after Halloween.
Yes, it delays the angst and ennui, but it also makes sure who's got a party to go to the Saturday after Halloween? Nobody. So they're going to come to my house.
Because it's whatever. I just don't you feel though like once a holiday's over, it's over. Like the day after Christmas, it's like get rid of these Christmas decorations. Christmas is
Yeah.
over.
Wait, are you telling me that you're the kind of person that takes down decorations the day after the holiday for the
So
big
they got around to it.
holidays?
Night
the,
of
the spirit
that's
is
not-
gone.
that's not laziness.
I-
Gone.
gone.
I agree. The spirit is pretty much gone. But
Yeah.
the reason why I started doing it after Halloween is because I would invite 100 people to my party. 100, and 20 people would show up.
Yeah.
18 people would show up. So I'm like, because they're always like, oh, I have another party to do. Clearly a mistake since no other party is better than mine. But that's why I kind of segued into. Also, outside my house right now is a $150 pumpkin that I'm going to turn into a jack-o'-lantern that I paid instead of $150, I paid $20 for it.
Yeah.
Because I got it November 1st. So
That's
whatever.
a bargain.
Somebody else would have paid $120 for
No.
that $20 pumpkin. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, before Halloween, sure, it's gargantuan. It's like literally,
Yeah.
it's gargantuan. It took 3 of us to lift it, but nobody bought it. They had a lot of these mammoth ones. And,
Can we see it?
So I said, I'll get it for you for $20. He's like, deal.
Can we see the damn thing?
Yeah, I could take the phone
Yeah, picture.
outside.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Are you going to do that now?
Yeah, you can always get a
now?
deal on
You have to
rotting
reconnect
expired
if you want.
vegetation.
It's not. I mean, it's in great
I
shape.
hear you. It's got a shelf life. It's after Halloween. It's a good deal.
However, wait, Steve, I think though, Bob, weren't you running your haunt the week on the 29th and 30th?
My haunt ended last Saturday.
So that's the reason why you're really having your party afterwards, because you couldn't have it because you were working.
That's true. Every Friday and Saturday, the past 3 weeks, I've been scaring people at the haunt. We did 5,500 people, a lot of people. It was great.
Wow.
Best we've ever done. Best we've ever done. And Jay, the highlight was Jay's daughter Olivia in my graveyard as a zombie with the best zombie walk I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
she's a little hambo.
I saw that video.
Oh my God, hilarious, adorable.
That was good.
She was
really good.
So,
she got
so
really
happy.
into it.
She had like a poodle skirt, 1950s, beautiful 1950s outfit with blood on it. She had makeup. We had makeup put on her, and she was creepy and awesome. No way to describe it. Just
yeah,
so
zombie
I love
kids
Just,
are
just everything you
creepy.
want in a niece.
oh yeah, she's my future minion for sure.
You hear that, Jay?
Yeah, it is basically sizing up to be that way.
Yeah.
He really
Now,
loved it.
Steve's daughter Autumn is my number one minion right now.
Mhm.
She's number one. So when I'm
fully indoctrinated into Halloween.
when
She's
I'm
held that rank.
when I'm
Yeah.
80 in a wheelchair, whatever it is, I will direct them. Put that there, carve this, do this.
Bob, why don't you show us a little bit what you got going on over there?
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to all right.
Let's go on the tour.
So I'll
We're
put
ready.
I'll put my laptop on mute and I'll unmute.
You'll
my
have to
phone.
reconnect to the phone.
I gotta reconnect.
Yeah, just like refresh and reconnect,
Sure.
Yeah, we need the extra
and then I'll shut you
additional
off.
feed,
On the other
and then
one.
you'll mute Bob on the other side.
It's true. Oh, there goes Bob. Okay, say bye, Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hello, remote Bob.
Oh my God.
It's Bob Cam. You remember when David Letterman tied the camera to the monkey and had the monkey run all over the studio? That's
Oh
what
my God, no.
The
That
monkey
must be-
cam?
a monkey cam. Oh my gosh, David Letterman. It was hilarious.
All right, what are we looking at, Bob?
We can't
No
hear
audio
Bob.
from Bob.
Oh, is there going to be a
cannot
way
hear
we can
Bob.
get a
You'll have
hold
to
of him?
reconnect your
How's that?
audio. Oh, there
Yes,
That's better.
that's better, Bob.
Steve, you have a lantern, bring it tomorrow. All right, so this room is all over the place. I would like to have more. They're at the haunt. I love her. All right, this is the stone room. I've just basically got tombstones all over. I love them. They're just like little works of art. And best one. Jay, you love these guys, right? These
Yeah, those stickers are cool.
Mm-hmm.
so creepy.
Oh, I didn't see those.
And it's 300, and it'll be 360 days to Halloween.
Bob, you're making
damn it.
Steve's point when you show that. Okay, so
right,
don't
right.
do
Evan?
that again.
Whatever.
Was that a Ouija board? Are we going to Ouija at the party? Is that what's going to happen?
Sure.
No, this
I have
Be
so
in
many
control.
questions that only
And
the dead can answer.
Halloween Christmas tree. I mean Halloween tree. Screw Christmas. The Halloween the presents. Got all these. And this is my yes.
Look at that.
Look at that
Bob,
guy.
this is
How
probably
often is this
a 20th of what you own, though, right?
Well, I wouldn't say a 20th, but yeah, my garage is still filled. That's all I got.
Where's the giant
Dude, the
pumpkin?
clowns.
Yeah, show us the pumpkin.
Oh yeah. You hyped up the pumpkin, the $150 pumpkin. I got to see what a $150 pumpkin looks like.
That's in good shape.
That's a
for a really
good-looking
big
pumpkin. Oh, that's
Good
not rotten
shape.
at all.
it's appreciated. And then of course the 12-foot
Oh my God.
skelly.
The Bible was right. All
I
right,
made
guy.
these teeth. I made these teeth for the house.
How's teeth?
The eyeballs are enucleated.
Oh, those were eyeballs. Don't dox yourself. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What do you got in the
That's all she
refrigerator?
wrote.
Yeah.
What have you recently thrown out?
What's stuffed under the
Now.
staircase?
I thought I saw Liz
Who
tucked
is-
away somewhere over there.
Who's in the staircase?
Do you have one of those staircases that lifts in like is the storage area, or like the Munsters
Here's-
used to have? And
Hmm.
Here's my bell. He's my buddy.
All right, Bob, you won the award this year.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh,
Did he?
Not even
Ooh.
close, dude. I'm a
Need background music.
Well, hold on, I guess he's switching back to the other one.
Oh yeah, let me toggle
bring
this
him back
off.
to.
Boom. Boom.
There
There he
There
is.
he is.
All righty, kids.
Thank you, Bob.
That's damn impressive.
What are
Bob.
some of the comments people like? Yeah, there's some people that make me look like a piker.
Bob's out
But
of his
whatever,
lure.
you know, I
Very
have
good.
fun.
All right, moving on to another topic.
Obception.
Yeah.
What happened? I can't hear anything. God damn it.
You have to cut Bob off or else it'll never end.
Are you? Did you mute Bob, Ian, on your side?
On the other one, yeah, it's just he's got to put his headphones on.
All right, I hear you
Headphones.
now. All right, what
Yeah.
smack
There
are you
you go.
talking
There you
now?
Nothing. We're just saying we better move on, or
You
you
said, well done. Very
Are
good.
you
job.
moving on to something, Jay, or just away?
Bob,
No,
from
I'm
it?
you're
just I'm
in a
just telling
twisted
everyone that we're
You didn't have anything specific you wanted to talk about?
No, my only comment about my hobby is that I have begun making better bread than I've ever made before.
Mhm.
Because
Can you put on your camera and show us that?
No, I have more respect for the audience than that. And he didn't even look at. He didn't even hear it. Look at him. He's not even. God.
He's
Whatever.
reading the comments. He's,
I can show you a picture. I mean, I'm learning a lot, and I'm applying my newfound knowledge, and it's working. This is what I made today. Right.
what do they
I
call
hate
a
when a
professional?
phone does that.
Yeah.
Is there another title other than
Made an
baker
iPhone.
for someone who bakes bread? Is it like you know,
Baker?
You're right. No, I said beside baker. Right. Something
Baker.
more. You know. Kind
Bread man?
Yeah.
Like
See that?
Bread
crustacean
artisan.
something. You know.
Mm.
I hate that. I hate when
Artisan.
people use the word artisan because it basically means it's more expensive. That's all that word
Mhm.
means, right?
It means you can charge. You can appeal to wealthier clientele.
It's supposed to
Call
be
yourself
like it means smaller
artist-
batches and
artist.
stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that it's supposed to be better or that it's worth more money. That's the thing about it I don't like.
I guess it's not mass produced. Is that the
Yeah, but
on
people will
any
use that word
industrial
as
sort of scale?
it's a marketing word at
Oh,
this
sure.
point. You know, it doesn't like mean anything like that's significant. It just means like it's
all
more
natural.
expensive.
Yeah.
that's
like
it. It's all natural.
One thing. This porno stash is not permanent. This is for my costume tomorrow.
Mhm.
I see Bob's porno stash.
I wouldn't.
Now I know
I
where
wouldn't
it
wear
is.
a bear mustache.
It's been growing that since the 1970s.
Steve, remember when you and I tried to grow goatees for Dragon Con and we bailed because we're like
You
this-
bailed.
we both bailed. What? I
I-
didn't even see yours because you're like, I tried, it was horrible, I shaved it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, we
I
don't
did
have a lot of
that-
facial hair.
I did it another time. I went like 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
and you could barely tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I tried when I grew it, it was growing in gray. It was the first time I saw gray hair on my face. I was like, holy crap, look at that. That's not good. And so I shaved it off. And then that was before I embraced the gray. Say, screw it.
Mhm.
What the hell, man? Who cares? It looks
Yeah, I mean,
You had more
Right.
gray in your beard than I did.
Yeah, which was ironic as hell.
yeah, Steve, if you had like a black goatee
Mhm.
You
with
look
your hair,
cool.
that would be badass. That would look pretty
Weird.
tough, man. You'd be scaring your patients.
Mm-hmm.
You could have that tonight if you wanted. Jocelyn will dye your hair.
No, I mean,
in fact, there's
the-
your costume for tomorrow.
I
It's
think
Mirror
the
Universe
goatee should be
Steve.
black. His hair is white, and the goatee should be black. That would be cool.
Oh, that's easy. No problem.
So
No
what's
problem.
happening in the world?
Well, I mean,
Twitter's
without-
doing well.
I
Yeah.
really don't
Musk
have the
is
stamina. to-
trying to destroy Twitter.
Yeah, I wanted to
Hey,
ask you guys about
tearing it
that.
down.
Yeah.
He's gonna rebuild it.
Everything that I hear that he's doing, and who knows how true it is, but it sounds like he's basically charging more money for things that they do for free now.
$8 a month, is
Yeah.
it?
He's gonna try to. Yeah, he's gonna
Down
try to
from 20
remodel
though.
it. Yeah. New
What
business.
was
Yeah, what is
model.
that? What is that even? Like the what was it? The blue ticket
The
service?
check mark.
The
Yeah,
blue check
the-
mark. Yeah, if you're gonna
yeah.
blue check mark yourself, I guess. Is
Just
that what
kinda-
it
And
is?
that just
$8?
means that you've been vetted in some way, or you're protected from being.
I don't even know if they vet you. I think you just pay for it. I mean,
Well,
perhaps
don't
it
you
is
have
a
to,
vetting.
don't you have to show some sort
process.
of proof identification? There is some sort of process to get the blue check.
That's the
You
original
have to
way,
provide
yeah.
something.
They probably do still do that, and then also you have to pay for it.
I have no idea. I'm so behind on Twitter.
Yeah, this might. I don't know if Twitter was actually making money or not, but this might be his way of trying to make the company, make more money or whatever. But it just, it feels wrong because you're changing the way that this hugely used platform works, and I think he's doing himself a huge disservice by.
He just fired the entire board of directors.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that right. I mean, these are not unusual things when people come in and take over companies. These things happen. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that he did this. What I think is surprising is how much he paid. He overpaid, way overpaid, according to industry analysts, which is why they accepted the offer in the first place, because it was only a ridiculous offer to begin with.
How much was it?
44 billion.
44 billion, and he paid about 2 times probably what they say he should have, or what the
Twice.
stock
Yeah,
was
it was like a
worth at the
meme.
time. Yeah.
Almost.
But also, how I look at it is like, how much would this money have been better if he did expanded SpaceX or something else, right? Kind of, which had some great, news this week and successful launch and relanding. The Falcon went up again, and all that cool stuff that the stuff we admire. I kind of wish he would stick to those
Stick to
sorts
what
of
you know.
projects.
Yeah, stick to what he's good at.
I can't. I can't
especially if
fathom.
you're going to make a capital investment of that size. I mean,
Why
think
would
of
he
all-
want
think of what you
that?
could do instead of acquiring the social media company to, I think it just could have been. That's my personal opinion. He should have spent his money on something else.
I've been thinking about his motivation behind it. Why would a guy like him want to own one of the top social media platforms? And I keep thinking, this might give him a platform to push what he's thinking, more, or it might, in some way, he's framing it like he's doing the world a service by freeing Twitter from its restraints and all that shit. I can't possibly think that he did this for good reasons. There's got to be some type of selfish angle in here for him to drop that kind of money, because even for him, that's a significant amount of money.
Or egotistical. It doesn't have to necessarily be like some specific, personal thing. Yeah, just ego driven.
Did he put Trump, did he reactivate Trump's account yet?
Not
I don't
yet,
think
as
so,
far as I
no.
heard.
I heard that
That'll be fine.
people that have been banned won't have accounts reactivated for weeks because he's starting some type of ethics panel or whatever.
Mhm.
What I also see happening is that someone there's going to be a competitor. There's something else is going to rise. Maybe everybody who will no longer be employed with the company will go off and find a new company, spend years building it up, and make a sort of parallel company to what something in the light of what Twitter was, rather than what Elon's going to turn it into.
Yeah, I mean, the direction that it seems like he's going in sounds to me like it's going to be the Wild West on there. It's going to, there's not going to be any content management, which is the exact opposite direction that I think social network platforms need to go in. I mean, the responsibility that these companies have is huge, and like,
Well, yeah, he's got to have. I mean, he's got to meet certain legal requirements. Certainly, he's got to uphold all of that. Like, so and there are, I think, legal ramifications if you start allowing certain things to go on there, like people making outright death threats towards each other, or who know, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think he's bound. And he's bound by the various countries that Twitter operates in, right? I mean, there's U.S. laws, and there's the laws of the countries of Europe, and then there's other places around the world that all have their rules as far as, I think, what Twitter what is allowed to be on Twitter based on the laws of those countries. So he's got to remain in compliance with all that, or he'll get he'll have whopping fines and other things coming down on him. Some countries might actually shut him out. So he's got to be smart about it, right? He's not, he can't go crazy to an extent in which it is really totally unmoderated, total Wild West. He won't be able to, the company won't be able to survive that. So he is going to have to work within certain constraints, I think to the extent of the legal constraints, he might try to test what those boundaries are. But I think other than that, that's probably about as far as he's going to go. And yeah, you're going to see people who have been banned, censored, or whatever on Twitter eventually making their way back, and then people will have to make a choice as to whether they're going to continue to use the platform or use other forms of social media.
I think he just purchased an unbelievable headache as well. Like,
yeah, which is a
what
shame.
He's doing. He fired a lot of people that probably did know how to run that business, or at least you figure you'd at least want to talk to them. Like, do some data extraction from them about what's going on. Could have had them stick around for another 3 or 6 months. Him firing the board to me was a huge signal that this is like you were saying, Steve, like this is like an ego thing. I'm gonna, you guys are gone, get out of here. I'm gonna fire a bunch of employees. Like, how does he even know what's going on inside that company yet?
Yeah,
you can't have. I don't know how many employees that Twitter has, but it's got to be
4,500.
4,500.
75.
Yeah, 7,500.
How many got laid off today? I
I
heard conflicting reports, as much as
some large percent. Yeah,
50% or more,
which is apparently illegal illegal without giving notice.
Well, right. I mean, what he's going to have to do is pay them for the 60 days or whatever the rule is. Yeah, it's basically it's
back pay.
It's like right. He's going to close all their access and say, "Go away. Here's your 60 days of severance or whatever, and thanks very much." So he'll have to pay something.
I really feel like we live in such an upside down world right now. Like, things have changed so much in the last 6 years. It's just weird, like I don't feel stable with Elon Musk owning a social media platform. I don't feel like that's like social stability. I feel that
does it make the world a better place?
No, not at all. I think we're about to see some crazy shit.
Well, and if that is the case, if things are going to be worse as a result of this, I think what will happen is through natural patterns is people will go away from the platform. They'll abandon it.
Yeah.
And all that you'll have left there is whatever crumbs remain, or whatever fringe elements, or whatever you want to call it, remains. I mean, you'll walk. Nobody's forced to use this thing. I get it's the biggest one out there, but again, it does also open the door for something new to come along.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I think it will. I think you'll see several companies try to start something alternative. They won't all pan out, but one of them, it only takes one of them to get a foothold, and then that becomes the new thing.
Yeah.
And everyone will go there, and then and
it's a hard thing to start.
You won't have to pay $8 or whatever to have a blue check at that site, or a green check, whatever the heck.
But he is bringing Vine back, so that's.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So somebody in the chat said that it feels like so much of this change is due to just a few rich assholes, and I couldn't agree more. Like, it's really scary to think that we could name a handful of people that are having this unbelievably broad effect on so many people's lives and the quality of life, and literally nations. Literally, like what's going on in nations right now is up to, you could name less than 10 people have such massive influence. And that sucks. It
yeah,
really sucks when that much power is in the hands of so few. That's scary.
Well, but that happens a lot more than maybe you realize, Jay. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, like newspaper companies, New York Times are owned by, have been owned by individuals, over the course of time. These aren't all public, utilities, and they're not, all public
should they be?
public stocks and stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, they're, that is a question, and that is often debated about lots of different things, and that's for the governments of those societies to argue it out, and that's very political.
Could you imagine if the
arena.
U.S. government was actually having discussions like that? Like our government doesn't talk about things like that. You know what I mean? They don't even talk to each other. Our government is so epically broken. It's like it would be fantastic if they were having discussions about what's the best for the citizens of the country that we're managing.
But they do, Jay. They have regulation. I mean, that's what all these federal departments do. Is they're the officiate. It's like it's like a team sport. They're the officials of the sport, and they have tremendous power and can throttle things back and put all sorts of regulations and bureaucratic red tape.
But yet though,
if they figure out, and if a company were to go, say, rogue and start having all these problems, oh yeah, you'd see massive government coming down on.
But Ev, what about news outlets and like the profound misinformation?
Okay, so
right?
yeah, so here's the thing though, we've got the First Amendment, so that and under which that's where that's how the news operations and things all exist right now.
Yeah, but
Twitter,
that's because of the death of the fairness doctrine. So up until what was it, the late 80s, early 90s,
Yeah.
If you your opinion or entertainment sections of any outlet could do whatever you want, but if you were, in order to be considered a news outlet, a news program, you had to follow the fairness doctrine, which basically said that you couldn't be biased, right? If you had to present, fairly represent, all sides of an issue, and then they got rid of that, and that gave rise to Fox News and all the stuff that we have now was a result of that. So the question is there any way to go back to that, or is it done? It's like there's actually really no way to put that genie back in the bottle, or do we need to come up with some new way to prevent basically the utter destruction of facts as a basis for our democracy? Because there basically is no distinction between opinion and fact in reporting. There's no standard, other than, what individuals, collectively hold any outlet to. And unfortunately, people like hearing what they want to be true more than they want to hear what actually is true.
Yeah.
So there's a feedback loop. We're stuck now in a feedback loop. It existed before social media, but social media obviously made it worse, where you have people feeding off of outlets that are reinforcing their tribalism, which then increase the demand for even more extreme tribalism, which which further radicalize the audience. And so then you have basically, alternate realities, not just different spins or different opinions. And the alternate realities are, they each think that the other side is an existential threat to our country, right?
Which justifies pretty much any behavior.
Which justifies anything, and worse than that, it justifies electing anyone on your side, right? There's no longer any standard for politicians. As long as they're on my team, that's the only thing that matters.
Yep.
So essentially, and I'm not saying this is symmetrical, and I don't believe that it's symmetrical at the present time. But if I wrote about this in my blog, the fact is, we're essentially rewarding psychopathic behavior in politicians, which means we're going to be ruled by a bunch of psychopaths. That's what you get if people if politicians can be shameless, unethical,
Mhm.
can just blatantly lie and not pay a political price for it, and in fact get politically rewarded because they're firing up their base,
Yeah,
then we're going to have a bunch of assholes running the country, right?
yeah, it's game over. It's
Gonna
It's
have-
game over.
We
Yeah.
do have.
No democracy can survive that. Like the democracies are not self-running. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, well, we have a good system going. It's like, yeah, but it's still people running the system. And if it's still true, the idea that like in order for the forest to be green, all the trees need to be green, right? We can't have a functioning democracy where everyone in it is basically an idiot and an asshole. There's got to be some higher standard.
The code of ethics is gone.
You have to codify that into law somehow. That's because that's how it works.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to be codified in law, and it isn't right now.
No, why would? But because why? Why would these people
short
put those
of
kinds
being
restraints on themselves?
Yeah,
you're asking these people, this class of people, to go to moderate themselves, to govern themselves, to limit themselves to a certain extent. And why would they do that?
Yeah,
they have no they have no reason to do that. They don't want to do that.
Yeah,
and won't do it, right?
And in this circumstance, like you had the series of events that took place during the pandemic with Trump, and then Biden becomes president. And if Biden didn't in the last 2 years try to get some of these things done that you're talking about, Steve, it's never going to happen.
I think it's an argument for term limits. If you're pro term limits, I think it's an argument for it.
They'll never do it.
Because we have to get rid of gerrymandering. You could limit the damage that a psychopath could do while they are in power. Unfortunately, we do have that with our presidency, but we got to look at.
I don't know.
For the rest of our elected officials.
I'm lukewarm on term limits because we do need experienced legislators, and I do think the people should be able to get who they want, even if that person's already been in office for a certain amount of time. I think far worse, and I think blatantly obvious, is we have to get rid of we have to figure out some way to just completely get rid of gerrymandering. Right now,
gerrymandering is awful.
It's terrible.
Awful. It's been a problem forever.
But it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's on both sides. But what happens is that there's very, very few competitive seats, which means the only contest that matters is the primary, not the general election, because your districts for the House, were so gerrymandered. Like if you're in a deeply red district, no Democrat's ever going to win that district. So the only thing that matters is the primary, and primaries favor more radical contestants, and so we just have to get rid of that. There's just so few competitive seats. So it is essentially the politicians choosing their voters rather than voters choosing their politicians.
Steve, someone's asking us to explain U.S. gerrymandering because a lot of people around the world have no idea.
So for House seats,
that is.
Right, for the Senate, those are statewide, right? If you're a senator from Connecticut, you have to win a statewide election in Connecticut. So there's no gerrymandering.
2 senators per state. And
you get 2 senators. You have to win statewide.
Not based on districts.
But for the federal government, for the House, and for state governments, for their legislature, there are districts, right? So you split up a state into, let's say there's 10 House seats for that state. You divide the state up into 10 districts. So how do you decide how to draw them, right? How do you divide it up, right? You need to divide it up equally by population. But some guy figured out 150 years ago, 200 years ago, that you could carve out a district that has voters favorable to you, right? And now, 150 years later, it's been raised to an art form, like a computer-driven, data-driven science where you can maximize the number of seats that you get in that state by the way you carve it up. So the primary mechanism is called cracking and stacking, right? Mm-hmm. So one way to do it is you can, let's say, for example, if you had a state where you had 60% Republican and 40% Democrat, or the other way around, doesn't matter. So a fair way to divide it up would be such a way that those 10 House seats, you would get 6 Republican and 4 Democrat, right? That would be proportional representation. But if you're in control, like if the Republicans own the state house, they're controlling the state house when the districts are made every 10 years, they can make it so that they have 60% Republicans and 40% Democrats in every district. So they basically win 100% of the districts, even though they're only 60%. So those are like, that's a district.
That's a district, by the way.
That's one district.
That's a voting district in a state. And this is a book written by George Will back in 1991 called Restoration: Congress Term Limits and the Recovery of Deliberative Democracy.
Yeah, he's been complaining about this for decades. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been writing about this forever. But that's an example. This is what Steve's talking about. I mean, this is how far they go, and it gets worse and worse and worse. It rarely, if ever, gets better.
Some states have passed laws basically saying no more gerrymandering, that the legislature cannot make districts that let's say a panel of judges from balanced by political party will make districts. There's also computer programs that you can run districts through to say, basically, is this fair or not? Does this, fairly represent the voters in the state, et cetera, et cetera. You can, we can. It's totally fixable. It's totally fixable. But of course, if you're in a state that, like, if you're in a Democratic state and you have a Democratic legislature and they've democratically gerrymandered the districts, there's no incentive to give away that power. If you're in a Republican state who's completely gerrymandered your House districts to favor Republicans, you have no incentive to give it up. You have to be forced to give it up. And that really the only thing that could the state Supreme Court could give it up if there's anything in the state constitution that could be used to say, no, this is against the Constitution, this is unconstitutional. And at the federal level, you could say, oh, you're basically disenfranchising voters by making sure their votes don't count and they don't have representation. And so that eventually went to the Supreme Court. And of course, the gerrymandered, basically a Supreme Court that was appointed by a minority of voters and approved by a minority of representation in the Senate shot down all attempts at getting rid of gerrymandering at the federal level. So we're kind of fucked because, the Republicans very successfully took control at the state, Senate, and Supreme Court level. They are really so close to locking in, like permanently locking in minority rule in this country that, which is why it's so disappointing that, they're actually favored, to win the midterms, because they're not being coy about it. They're saying, this is what we're doing. We're taking over, They're not making any kind of attempt at hiding it. And they're also using the myth of a stolen election in order to try to really push for voter suppression. So, I don't know how much more of a window where it's even theoretically possible that we could fix this problem, but we have to get rid of minority rule, or otherwise beyond a certain point, democracy is just completely over in the United States.
No,
whether
we're heading there fast,
democracy
boy.
or not. Yeah.
We're
We're damn
fast.
close.
Republics don't last forever.
This is how democracies die.
They don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually not like a stable democracy like what we have had. There's not a big revolution. It's what we are living through right now. I mean, the experts have said, this is what's happening, guys. We are slowly sliding into authoritarianism and minority rule. This is the step-by-step way that it happens. We're at level 6, whatever. We're like in the middle of this process. We're almost there. We have to, so I think a few things would make a big difference. Ranked choice voting in the primaries so that they're less radicalized, getting rid of gerrymandering, and getting rid of the fucking electoral college. Because imagine if at least the president and the vice president were like actually had to win a majority of the voters. Right. That would really force them to be moderation at that level. At least in the executive branch.
I think the last one those
as it is now. As it is now, you can win a minority of the votes, and really, like Trump is a perfect example. He didn't have the majority of the primary voters until he was the only viable candidate. He lost the popular vote, twice. He basically just eked by because of the Electoral College. So you really had a president who was supported by really just a minority of the voters in the country, and then enact pretty radical agenda, stack the Supreme Court. It was really, with the help of Mitch McConnell, of course, completely. But the Supreme Court is broken too. That needs to be fixed. I think we should just do 16-year term limits. Every president gets to name 2 Supreme Court justices. That's it. No more. That's just too important for that to be left up to random chance.
Steve just that's called a platform with planks in the platform, right, Steve?
No, totally.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Unfortunately, the Forward Party shot themselves in the foot. It's right out of the gate. I'm sorry, but I don't think they have any potential. I do think if we need what I would like to see.
Party came along and
I would like to see a center-right party essentially displace the Republican Party. That because we need a center-right and a center-left party in this country. I don't think I'm not. I'm pretty much an independent. I don't think one side should dominate.
You'll need 2 parties
because they become crazy. If you have one party
if you
with
split one side, the other side will take full control and never relent.
We need a center right and a center left party in this country
to be
functional, to keep things in the middle where the stuff actually happens and common sense prevails and compromise happens. And right now we have a center left and a radical right party, and we have a pro-democracy and an anti-democracy party. It's completely asymmetrical, even though, yes, there are problems on both sides and there's gerrymandering on both sides, blah, blah, blah. But there's a massive asymmetry right now because the Republicans have just been really much better at radicalizing their side. And it worked. They successfully radicalized their constituents in order to rile them up and get them to donate money and to vote. And now the radicalized voters have radicalized the politicians, who then further radicalize the voters. So we're off to the races, which is why the crop of Republican, people running in for the House and Senate this year are just incredible. I mean, the level of incompetence and conspiracy theories and anti-democracy. I mean, it's unbelievable how horrible they are.
And Steve, we haven't seen shit yet. We haven't even seen the bad stuff yet.
Oh, there's an election next week, so
I know. Hey, man.
It comes in order.
All right, now let's move on.
Let's
move on to a video. Ian's got some video. What the hell, Ian?
So I was watching a live stream from earlier. Avi Loeb, if people know the Israeli.
She sang that song.
Him on the show a lot.
He's the astronomer who thinks that the aliens have buzzed the Earth. Yeah.
Yes. So he was on a podcast, H3 podcast, which is a pretty popular live stream podcast. Anyway, I was listening to it and he made kind of a classic claim about the scientific community. I wanted to get your reaction to it.
Let's take a look.
What you think.
All right. Let's take a listen and look.
Because one of the biggest traumatic experience I had as a kid was coming to the dinner table, asking a difficult question, and then seeing the adults in the room dismissing the question because they didn't know the answer. And I thought that by becoming a scientist, I would figure out the answer myself. I don't need to pretend that I know more. We can just be guided by evidence. That's the way science is done. But unfortunately, it's really strange, but even within science, the practitioners want to maintain an image of an adult, the adult in the room, to pretend they know more than they actually know, and to avoid collecting evidence because that would be a reputation risk if it turns out that it violates what they said initially. Also, if it's something really new, it would imply that as experts, they did not anticipate it. So they would rather argue, Oumuamua must have been a rock of a type that we've never seen before because that's natural.
Keeps them the expert.
Keeps them as experts. Yeah. It's just that, it's a natural object from another type. There are different types of rocks, not a problem.
So as
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, what about peer review? Peer review is supposed to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of evidence and stuff,
we see this all the time, and obviously there are degrees, right? But you have a hypothesis that is, it's in the minority, let's just say. It may be a little bit out there. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. And it's not immediately embraced by the scientific community because it's an odd hypothesis. You have two options. You start complaining about the scientific community, somehow trying to make it seem like you're being persecuted in some way or dismissed, or they're defending their turf, or they're closed-minded or whatever. Or you sort of knuckle down and you prove your hypothesis as best as you can. If it turns out to be correct, and if it turns out to be wrong, you freaking accept that it's wrong, right? That's it. There's no justification for responding to a completely appropriate skepticism about your wacky idea as I'm being unfairly dismissed or persecuted, rather than, dude, you don't have it. You did not bring the evidence. You have a hypothesis. You don't have the evidence to support that hypothesis. And your logic is a little hinky. It is not quite there.
It's a big yeah.
Embrace the pushback and the skepticism. You have to embrace it and meet it and learn from it and deal with it. But if you complain about it, that is the long slide into pseudoscience and crankery.
Gosh, you have to know that going into
a
it
crank.
too.
Yeah, and that
we see what
that's why that
lead to any place good.
The interviewer was literally just sitting there nodding his head and had nothing to add to the conversation, nothing to say. I hate shit like that. It's like, let's just give some asshole a platform. Yeah. That's what my podcast is.
Are we inviting him onto the Skeptics Guide? Is that what you're saying,
cool.
Jay?
He usually does have some knowledge of the thing and pushes back, but I just think he's out of his wheelhouse of skeptical thinking. Anyway,
skeptical. He's not a critical thinker. He's a perfectly reasonable scientist who has a fringe theory, and he's just not responding well.
We need to help. Sacred cow.
We need to help him.
I've read a lot of his stuff, and he's interesting and smart and covers things that I find worth talking about on the show. But this, seems like a sacred cow scenario for him.
Yeah, but also think about it. It's like this now is his issue. You know what I mean? Would we know who this guy was if it weren't for this issue?
Yeah,
he'd be some anonymous astronomer publishing in the literature that nobody cares about outside of.
We covered him for years. We've
because of this
his stuff. No, I've covered news items and papers and things that he has done on the show for years before.
But not enough that we would remember his name.
I did. It's a very memorable name. I'm just saying he's not. I knew this guy. I knew this guy.
Yeah, but this
is a completely different level.
It's yet another example of a scientist who's talking out of their expertise, and it immediately falls right off the rails. Right, because when you're not an expert, you really shouldn't be talking about it.
Plus, he must have by now have read all the criticism aimed his way about what he's saying, and he has. I don't know. Has he addressed that? Has he brought that into his calculations and made some assessment?
He does actually in this podcast. I mean, I don't want to necessarily promote somebody else, but they talk for like 2 hours, and he does kind of like hand wave it away, like they don't want to give me funding, or they're coming up with other ideas, but they couldn't come up with a solution, but I did. But it's like, okay, but that's not really evidence. I mean,
but it's like an astrology solution.
Right.
But Jay, he's not out of his. He's not out of his. That's not the right diagnosis. He is not out of his area of expertise. He is an astronomer dealing with an astronomical question. He simply is operating on the fringe. He came up with a hypothesis that on its face, Occam's razor would say, whoa, we need to rule out the 1,000 more likely explanations first.
Right. Extraordinary evidence.
He's not an astronomer, Steve. He's a theoretical physicist.
I thought he was an astronomer.
No, he's a little bit. So he's a little bit.
Oh, he's
maybe he's a little bit out of his.
He's a little bit out of his depth. But this shouldn't be something that would be beyond him. I'm just. He's just doubling, tripling down on this. Is this
right?
Well,
it's okay to say, listen, I can't prove this. This is just one hypothesis, and just deal with the arguments. But once you start going down the persecution road,
that's a big red flag.
That is the problem, and that's where a skeptical, critical thinking skill set would have served him extremely well.
Yes,
and that could be his undoing.
That's the piece that's missing.
Could be his undoing. Yeah,
we're gonna have a quiz today, and Ian is going to start. He's going to start spinning that up. Yeah, get the audience.
While he's spinning that up, Evan, let's resolve your puzzle.
Oh yes, this is a puzzle.
It's a good one, man. I couldn't figure it out.
Thanks. A lot of people did figure it out. Congratulations to the
So my
thousands.
hypothesis was that the AK was Arkansas,
Okay.
but I was trying to think of what that could mean, and then I
Mhm.
read
Right.
the answer in the chat before I figured it out.
Oh,
myself.
I still haven't seen the answer, and I can't.
Okay. So I think you can all clearly read what that says. So AK, Steve, it's not Arkansas. It's in fact Alaska. So if
Oh,
you-
Alaska, whatever.
so-
The state with AK as the initial.
Right. So that would make a big difference in sort of the trying to piece this together. So you have to know that AK is Alaska here.
Oh yeah, that makes
Okay,
that makes more
Alaska.
Right.
sense. Yeah.
And what's that?
Square-
20,000 would be what in Alaska?
Square miles? Square
How
miles?
many people own monkeys?
Arctic
No?
monkeys. Isn't that a group? Yeah, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
No, what's about 20,000 feet way up in Alaska that we all learned about in fourth
A
grade?
mountain?
Yeah, mountain. Yeah, perhaps. So
An
Mount-
iceberg?
The highest peak in Alaska.
Yeah, that's your highest peak in Alaska. Very good, very good. So if Alaska, this is their highest peak, then
Connecticut.
based on this
CT.
formula,
Florida.
not Connecticut, is Florida. In fact, the highest elevation in Florida is 345 feet above
That's a flat
sea level.
state.
That is
Yeah.
low. That is low.
That's a state
Yeah.
where if there's a real tsunami, like a big one, it doesn't matter where you are, you're done.
Oof.
Yeah.
They're going to take a beating with the seacoast,
Oh yeah.
eroding away.
Is that
And,
flatter than Colorado? Colorado.
Well, Colorado is the mile high city.
Well, right. I mean, right, because you're in the Rocky Mountains.
Okay,
So
so
we're just
true,
talking about elevation above sea level. And Bob, Connecticut, our
Florida
highest
State.
point is
It's
just
mu-
under 2,400.
Yeah, much higher than that.
Yeah, because we've got the Appalachian Mountains
Yeah.
that touch our
That's
corner,
true.
northwest corner of the state. So, I mean, so many people got this one right, and it was a good job figuring out the puzzle this week to everyone. Well,
That was a good one, Ev.
thank you.
All right, let's move on to
The
Quiz.
Quiz.
Quiz time.
Ian. Do you have the little intro there?
No. What? Oh, the. You know what? Maybe I do actually. But no, I don't. Because this is the different system.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is the other one.
This is 3.0 instead of
Yeah, I don't know.
2.2.
I don't
Did you,
have it.
did you
Whatever.
give the audience their link?
I did. I sent the link, and you guys have the link too. Remember, it's darkenergy.games, and it's in our secret link. Secret
Embarrassed.
link.
It's been a while since we did
And
this.
people are joining. There's only 40 people currently joining. So go ahead and click that link in the chat that I spammed like 5 times, and I'm going to do again.
All right, there it is.
So everybody gets it.
Well, I get it.
Let me find some questions to ask while we're doing it.
All right.
That's funny. So, Keith Davies, the guy
Mm-hmm.
who built my my gaming table,
Oh, cool.
he when he talks about Denver, he says down to Denver because he's at a much higher elevation. So to them, Denver is low altitude. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Whenever I go to Colorado,
Everything is relative. Everything is relative.
whenever I go to Colorado, I feel itchy and I feel a little lightheaded. That's my
Your
experience.
skin
whenever-
dries out.
Yeah.
And probably the elevation, I would think. maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I feel sometimes when I go, I feel the elevation.
Didn't we talk about the myth of training at sea level versus a higher climate?
Higher altitude.
Yeah.
And how it affects performance. Did that turn out to be a myth?
No.
Because it
No,
depends
that's
on.
legit.
No, it makes sense.
So if you're gonna go compete at a certain altitude, it's best to train at that altitude.
Yeah. I would
Well, because
think
if you train at a high altitude, you need a higher concentration of hemoglobin,
hemoglobin,
and
Right.
red blood cells to make up for the lower oxygen tension. If you like trained in Florida and then tried to compete in Denver, you'd be
at a disadvantage.
smoked. Like you wouldn't.
But was
get-
there an advantage to people who trained in Colorado and then competed in Florida? And I don't think that held up, did it?
It makes
I
sense
don't.
that it would, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
We'll have
that.
to revisit
We
that.
could look it up
maybe.
really quick. I don't know if that.
I'm pretty sure that
Flip it the other
that you
way.
do have an advantage because of the hemoglobin.
I know the Olympic training facilities are all at Colorado. I have no idea if it's for that purpose. Or not.
Sam in the chat says that you've already proved. I mean, Adam Savage already proved it. It's not.
Oh, he did?
That
Mhm.
it is
I
true.
did.
Okay.
That is true. Yeah, you did. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So there you
more.
go.
All right, what are our numbers with the quiz, Ian?
All right, people are joining. We got about 150 people joined, so I think we're probably pretty good. Here's
That's
a quick
good.
one. What are your top 5 new, recent, soon released science fiction miniseries? Go. You got 10 seconds.
Top 5.
Top 5.
Wednesday.
The top 5 what? Science fiction miniseries?
Yeah, that are just released, like newer or whatever, like recently.
When, like
Which ones
Wednesday,
are
I'm
recent?
looking forward to, even though that's not science fiction.
The Outer Limits recent?
The Outer Limits.
No, it's a new one. coming out?
That's a joke.
I didn't see Andor yet. I'm
Oh,
That's
yeah.
next on my
There's
list. I've
Obi-Wan.
heard
What's the
fantastic
Obi-Wan?
things about it.
What's the Obi-Wan one called?
Obi-Wan was good too.
Yeah, Obi-Wan was good.
I'm watching a cyberpunk anime series that
What's
I
that
started
called?
in Cyberpunk on the Edge or something like that.
There's
It's good,
also- I
really
just-
good.
I just
Solid
binged my way through another Star Wars one, Jedi Stories. It's an anthology
Oh, I heard of that.
of stories about Jedis.
Where's that?
It's on
Is it-
on the Disney Channel.
So
It
how
takes
good are they?
place-
How
it takes
good are they
place during
keeping?
the prequels, the prequel
I'm
era.
so
you know.
behind because with the Halloween, man, it's all horror. I've just been watching
A lot of
horror.
Ahsoka Tano.
Do they do a good job of keeping with the canon and
Totally.
the time period and everything?
Yeah.
Everything syncs. It's no.
This is all
for
canon.
what?
Nothing,
What
okay.
What are you talking about?
Just all these series, all these spin-off series.
Yeah.
But which one are you saying
in the
is canon,
Star
Steve?
Wars.
They're all canon. All
Because
of these Star Wars series
Jedi
on
one.
TV are all canon.
Oh, I thought you. I thought okay.
All right,
Yeah.
I just finished She-Hulk, and I thoroughly enjoyed the entire season.
Shulk.
I mean, it's definitely unconventional compared to other Marvel stuff that's been on TV and in the theaters, but I loved it. Totally loved it. I think they hit a good balance.
Was that
Of
another
goof-
gamma
of
ray
goofy
accident
humor.
or? was that-
Avenue
No.
5 is
Spoiler
fun.
alert.
It's a very funny show.
Oh, Avenue 5 is back. That's right.
Yeah, it's
it's
back.
the shit still
Oh.
orbiting the. Don't tell me. So I got to jump back on that.
Spoilers.
Just so many series that I got to dive into.
I
Right.
finally finished Rings of Power, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
I heard lots of bad
Oh,
things
boy.
about that one.
Yeah, that was.
Are you going to do an AQ6 on that?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about. Well, it's gonna. Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, we're gonna talk about the rings. We're doing one about the Rings of Power, like the actual rings themselves. We're not gonna. I don't know how much we're gonna talk about the season,
Oh,
But-
really? I didn't know that. Shit.
but they deviated significantly off of what you would
Canon.
consider to be Token canon. Yeah, it was major
whatever.
deviation.
I enjoyed it.
Lightsabers.
And apparently
and-
they don't. Yeah, they don't have the right to the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Only
Oh, the token.
the Hobbit
estate
and the
still has
Lord of the
that.
Rings. So they're riffing off of whatever
Really?
mentions were made in those books of this time period.
Sounds pretty open-ended.
So
Allows them a lot of liberty to come up with whatever the hell they want, I guess.
It's kind of like Game of Thrones then, where they just went, the books ended, so they just riffed it.
did
And
no
terrible
spoilers.
job.
You could argue they fucked that up royally.
No spoilers. Season 1, episode 1. Opening
Okay.
cards.
All right, let's do the quiz.
Okay, so everybody's at darkenergy.games.
Oh yes, I feel the darkness.
Bing, 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 bing,
It's
bing.
coursing through me.
We're gonna locate
It's
that
not-
synchronize button. What?
While Ian's doing that, I want to talk more about Rings of Power. It's not insignificant that they deviated from, what would be considered to be canon. It's not insignificant. You got to ask the question of like, why would they even produce a show that would veer that far away from the actual events that are outlined in the Silmarillion? Like, why? Why would they fashion a TV show and spend that amount of money? Why wouldn't they just give them the rights to tell the actual story? You know what I mean? I don't get it.
I agree.
I think a video game company owns the Silmarillion rights. Somebody
Really?
correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's part of the reason they couldn't get the rights from.
Wow. Oh, I
But
bet you they paid a boat for that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Man.
So they couldn't refer to anything that was
They couldn't,
only in
literally,
the
yeah.
Silmarillion.
But that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Steve. Like
exclusive
instead
permission.
of making a deal, $1 billion license deal. Like the licensing costs a shit ton of money, but I think I think it was $250 million for the licensing and $750 million for the production of the series. Whatever, they spend about $1 billion to get to where they are. To me, it's odd that amount of money and effort and energy is put into this TV series for them not to have the goddamn rights to tell the story that they're telling.
I agree.
They're telling a related story.
But why do that, Steve?
Why
see what
not?
I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Why does it have to be the same?
Wait.
An idea
this is different. This is different than Star Wars.
Tolkien didn't even write the Silmarillion. His son published like his backstory notes after he died.
Yeah, it was.
It's not like it was a coherent story that he published.
There is a coherent calendar. You know what I mean? Like there is a timeline. Things happen. We know when things happen. So
I don't care. I want to see this story.
But in the Star Wars universe, there's a million places to go and a million stories to tell that don't have to screw up with canon, right? But in Lord of the Rings, there's so many untold stories, but they are specifically telling a story about something that's specifically.
But are they? What if
you also have to consider that the stories that work in a book don't necessarily are not optimized for TV or for the cinema. You have to make adjustments.
Well, you are not clear on what they got right and what they got wrong. In air quotes, like. It's not like, oh, we had to change this little thing because it was a little hard theatrically to make this feel right or whatever. I mean, we're talking about massive changes. Massive changes.
Give me one example of what you consider the biggest change.
Robots.
Did you see this series, Evan?
No, he hasn't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
Don't give it away. But let me just do it in code. What if the stranger who is revealed to be who he quote unquote is not who we think he is?
He is, but he has to be who.
No, but he doesn't. He doesn't. I'm going to tell. There's two other people that he could be.
Which stranger are you talking about? The good one or the bad one?
You're gonna make me watch the
bad one.
No, the good one.
Jay,
the good one. Yeah, the good one. Yeah, that's a little bit of a mystery, and I think there's a little bit of misdirection going on there. But we'll see. We don't know who it is yet. We have to wait until next season.
But if it is the different people, there's no storyline behind them.
I'm fine. I'm fine about the quote unquote good guy not being who he seems to obviously be. I'm fine with that. I'm talking about the bad guy.
Yeah,
and everything
he is who he is, and everything that happened, almost everything that took place with that character, including the character itself, doesn't exist and didn't happen.
I mean, kind
of. But that's how you have a good reveal, because it's a little different.
You're not listening.
Snope.
They're literally telling the story wrong.
Let me tell you my take, Jay. Let me tell you my take. Perhaps. Jay, you're wondering how they could have spent so much money and not gotten full rights. Maybe they tried, they really tried, they couldn't get it, and they were faced with the choice of, well, do we tell a story or do we just bail and not even do anything? And they decided, let's just tell what we can and do what we can within these.
Yeah, you know why?
Because spend $1 billion. Spend $1 billion doing
people who have read the Silmarillion is probably, would be annoyed by the differences. And is probably really small.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
We have
going to be a quiz. Yeah, there's going to be a quiz on this specifically. Yeah. Okay, let's get on with the quiz. Here we go. There's a synchronized button, everybody.
Indian food waiting for me.
I love how much all of us care about fiction. We're like, whatever, this is not, the stakes are zero, but god damn it, we care.
All right, here we go.
About anything.
When I say click, everybody click the synchronize button.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, click.
I got it.
Negative.
We haven't run this.
Click it again right away when that happens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, click it.
There's a
difference
delay.
does it make? Does it really?
I think it's supposed to sync the YouTube video, but it doesn't do anything really for us so much.
All right.
But I think it does acknowledge that the game started. Whatever. We haven't used this in a couple months, so hopefully everything's working fine. Remember, don't switch back between two tabs if you're playing along on the computer. Everybody have two open windows because it delays the game sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. If everybody's ready, away.
Let's do this.
We go. How did Halloween get its start? It was a Celtic festival. It started with the myth of the jack-o'-lantern in Ireland. It was started in Mexico, known as the Day of the Dead. It started in the United States in the 1800s.
I wonder what Bob is going to answer to this one.
Bob started it.
Halloween got its start the day Bob was born.
That's true.
That's when it started.
Mhm.
That's when the universe started.
I want to hear Bob complain about this one.
Oh, come on.
Did you get it, Bob?
Of course I did. Jesus. What the hell do you
You'd have
think
to-
of me, dude?
He'd have to turn in his Halloween lifetime
Mm-hmm.
card.
So I think everybody has gotten it. At this point, the tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. Samhain? How do you pronounce that?
I couldn't figure that out.
Stonheim? What?
It's probably like
asking the worst
Siobhan
person.
or something. I forget how Gaelic works. But anyway, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward
Yeah.
off ghosts.
Yes.
Cool.
Scare
It's
the-
complicated.
It
though.
really
It's
works,
It's
huh?
really complicated.
All right, moving on to the next one.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
wait, Samhain.
No way.
Samhain? Samhain. That's what it is. Samhain. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Ah.
Samhain. Whatever. What was candy corn originally called? Sweet Spikes, Moaners, what? Spook Tooth, or Chicken Feed? Samhain. Yeah, you're right.
You know the answer to this one, Bob?
Sour.
I got a good guess though. I think I like my guess. Yep, got
His
it
name
right.
is Sauron. Okay, Sauron.
Got it right.
Sauron.
The third one, Jesus, Jay.
Yeah, I came up with those. I like Spooktooth.
Ooh.
And the answer is Chicken Feed. When the Goylitz confectionery company first produced candy corn, it was called Chicken Feed. The boxes were illustrated with a colorful rooster logo and a tagline that read, "Something worth crowing for."
I have eaten more
Yikes.
candy corn this year than I think in my entire life put together.
Not Moaners.
I have to get some. I didn't get
My
any.
mom just had it and never-ending supply. And like, oh,
Next
shit.
question.
What famous magician died on Halloween? Was it Harry Houdini, Harry Blackstone Sr., Doug Henning, or Cardini?
Got this one too. This was easy.
Well,
Just saying.
show off.
If I can't show off for a Halloween quiz, then I can just not speak ever again.
And the answer is, let me just wait 10 seconds while
Yep,
it's
10
happening.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It happened in Halloween of 1926. This person passed away at the age of 52, and it was
52.
Harry Houdini.
52, man. Jeez.
Yep.
So did the punch do him in? Is that right? We talked about that, I think.
I don't know if that was real or
Yeah.
not. That
Yeah.
seems like they made it up.
My memory was that he
took
did
the punch, but it
he took
didn't
the
cause
punch,
the
but he
death.
wasn't prepared, and it basically
Right.
like did
He
some
burst his
internal
spleen or
damage. Was it
something? Yeah.
something.
Spleen?
Next question.
Ah,
Next question. What was the most commercially successful horror movie of all time? The Sixth Sense, The Exorcist, It in 2017, and Hannibal.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, not the original It.
Most commercially
Just for clarity's
successful-
sake, this is according to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is never wrong.
Well, you holy crow. I guess it'll be this.
The
Yeah.
most commercially
I got
successful.
that right too. Thanks, Jay.
And the answer is It.
We got it.
Haha. It.
I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
figured
that's a
it was
bit
the
of a
most recent.
If you
right
read,
because the most money you can make in the
Yeah.
if you read the
Inflation.
list, you're not going to believe what the answers
Okay,
are. Like
here's the list. It, then The Sixth Sense, Sixth Sense,
I believe that.
War of the Worlds, and then I Am Legend.
No.
next
Which
question.
I am like the
The
One
Next
more.
question.
in Bram Stoker's 1897 Gothic horror novel Dracula, what power did Dracula not have? Was it shape-shifting, turning others into vampires, drinking blood, or enhanced speed?
this one was relatively
Well,
easy.
Did he sparkle as well?
He did
You
not
like Mr.
sparkle.
Sparkle?
Jesus
Did
Christ.
not like
You're
Mr.
like
Sparkle.
Jesus.
you're like
Hey.
Count Sparkle.
Count Sparkles. Count Sparkula.
Oh, it didn't take my answer. Why didn't
This may
Oh,
be
no.
the first 100 that I ever.
it?
And the answer is enhanced speed was
Yeah.
something he did not have.
That's
Yeah.
silly. He should have had that.
He should have.
Totally.
They had
The other ones
vampire
are too iconic.
turning other
Yeah.
vampires, shapeshifting, drinking blood.
By the way, I'm reading a trilogy, V War trilogy, all about
Drinking blood a
vampires.
power?
I
How many
recommend
books
it.
are in that series?
3, so I think this is 3. I'm on the 3rd.
All right, let's see how
100%.
Let's see how
I
well
would have had
everybody
100.
did here.
Didn't take
Stop
my
the
click.
game.
Something
Is drinking
happened.
blood a power? I don't know. Maybe
Well, it is because
surviving on blood. Maybe.
well, for him, for that vampire, that kept
Yeah.
him youthful.
Oh,
You know,
right.
so
That's
an
you
interesting
know,
point.
drinking blood actually was an ability.
Right.
All right, so we got a lot of well, maybe not a lot, but we got a good chunk of 100s. Let's see.
Congratulations to the 100 people.
Most people, as I'm
Bob
seeing right
Novello
now,
at
most
100.
people got in the 60 zone. So the first question about how did Halloween get its start? 63% answered correct on
Good.
that one.
Very good.
73% of people answered
Chicken
correctly
feast.
with the
Wow.
candy corn. 78% people answered correctly to which magician died on Halloween.
Nice,
Good job.
nice.
Wow.
The most commercially successful horror movie of all time. Unfortunately, only 27% got it right.
Oh, the
really?
horror.
The
That was
number
the hard-
one
that was the
answer
hardest
given was The
one.
Exorcist.
Yeah.
That
And
was
the final
hardest one.
question, most people, 44%, most people did get
Nice.
the enhanced speed as the
Yeah.
correct one.
Pretty good.
See, a lot of
I
people
didn't
know
click
about
my button in
Halloween.
time. I
Pretty
would've got
good,
100.
everybody.
I would have got 100.
That was
Cool,
fun.
Jay.
We haven't done a quiz in a
My-
while.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
man.
have.
What's my favorite one, Jay?
Your favorite, the
Oh,
thing.
great.
My favorite quiz.
Oh, your favorite quiz. Oh.
Yeah, now the thing, I wouldn't say that the thing, the movie, is a horror movie. It's a monster
Sure it is.
movie. No, it's not. It's not. Because do you want to say that monster movies are horror movies, or do you want to draw a line between that?
I mean,
Well,
there's
Well, isn't that what it is?
yeah, no,
I
I think
mean,
It's a monster.
it's a horror movie.
Yeah, but it
it's kinda
feels
horror.
like a horror movie, though. It has the feel of a horror movie.
Yeah.
But would you say that Jaws feels like a horror movie?
Yes.
No,
Or-
it doesn't. It's not a horror movie. It's a monster movie.
It's a little bit subjective. I can
Like
see the
monster movie
distinction.
is not a thing. Like
But-
so,
I-
is
talking about-
Frankenstein a horror movie or a monster movie?
I mean, there are real life horrors.
I think you could say a monster
So
movie
horror
is a
is a larger.
subset. It's a subset of a horror movie.
Yeah,
perhaps.
monster movies
Horror is
are
a bigger
horror movies.
tent, and monster movies are a
I mean,
type
yeah,
of
that-
horror movie.
I'm not really 100% for one way or the other. I am saying there is a difference in my head, though. Like when I think horror movie, I think something that it makes me feel unbelievably scared. Like Jaws had very short moments of fear, and there was an incredible amount of intrigue. And you
Is
know,
Alien a horror movie?
the first one,
Yes.
Yeah.
I say yes.
Hmm.
Yes, it's a sci-fi horror.
Sci-fi horror.
Sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
whatever.
The Shining was the movie that did it for me when I was a
Yeah.
kid. I hate it.
Shining is an awesome horror
It's
movie.
like
Shining.
I watched the movie like this when I was a kid.
Nah.
Kind of like, you know.
Yeah, that's one
Oh,
of my favorite
man.
horror movies.
That was
So-
so
Jay, it's
creepy.
fuzzy.
The shitting-
There's fuzzy
The
boundaries.
Shining.
Did you guys see
Mhm.
what was that? The Cabinet of Curiosities? Did you guys
Yes.
see the
Oh, I hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah, so it's a collection of like 1 hour horror movies or horror shows, you know what I mean? And you know, they
Yeah.
have good production value and everything. There's
Yeah.
good ones and there's some stinkers in there, but I saw the one last night
Frick.
that is based off of about
Which
Cthulhu.
one? Yeah,
Ooh.
it's a Pikmin.
Yeah, that was dark. That was
I didn't
dark.
see that
Red,
one yet.
Dark.
No spoilers then.
Yeah. That's
Crispin-
all. That's why I'm just giving you one.
You know what
adjective.
was really good is
Hmm.
that it was a one-off Marvel movie, the vampire, no,
Yes.
the Werewolf at Night.
Yes, go see that.
Really
It-
good.
It was
Really, really
wonderful.
good.
Is that a TV show?
Wonderful.
No, it's
Fun.
it's
a
TV.
movie? Oh.
It's like a one-hour show that Marvel
That's
put
it,
out.
right? And they put some love
Very
and care
good.
into that.
What's it called?
And I loved
Werewolf
it.
at Night.
Something like that. Yeah, you can't miss it.
Highly
it's,
recommend it.
It's so yeah, it was very very good.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah,
it was
definitely
because
check that out. Came out of
I
nowhere.
like it
didn't
because it
even
was
hear about
it was like a real film. You know what I mean? Like it really like
Hmm.
the cinematic aspects of it were great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
special effects were really good.
Yeah.
Fun. Check it out. But if you're gonna watch Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, watch the autopsy episode.
That was really good.
That was the best one, and I'll say no more about it. The other episodes were more hit and miss, I think. Graveyard Rats, I really enjoyed.
That was the most anxiety provoking for me because I have claustrophobia.
Yeah, you got claustrophobia. You're going to
Ooh.
be sweating through that episode.
Oh, Steve, I read it this week. There's a company that will, in order to, for you to combat your claustrophobia, what they will do is they will put you in a coffin. They'll bury you for an hour so that you can fight with that anxiety. And for $50,000, this company will do that for you.
No,
I could do it for 10.
That reminds me of a short vampire story where, as a ritual, when you become a vampire, you go through the whole process of having a funeral and being buried. They put you in the ground for a day, and they say, we're going to unbury you, but that you're going to be buried in the ground. And it's just like, it's interesting because at the end,
why would you want to do that?
Well, I mean, hey,
people that aren't claustrophobic wouldn't like that. I mean, what the hell?
But something happens at the end. I won't give it away.
All right,
it's not the obvious. It's not like, oh, they don't unbury her. That's not it.
A question for
Maybe
Steve.
I shouldn't have
Go
said
ahead.
that. Whatever.
Steve, is there therapeutic validity to these people who suggest, get over your fear of heights by, going up into the
That's called
building?
exposure therapy.
And
it's
it works.
absolutely legitimate.
And it works.
Okay.
It's absolutely legitimate. But you're supposed to do exposure in small increments.
Right. You don't jump in.
So you get buried for 5 minutes and then 10 minutes
In the sand.
No, how about
Sand,
like 5
dirt,
seconds?
concrete.
Depending.
Yeah.
I mean, virtual exposure therapy is a great thing.
Oh, interesting, right?
Oh yeah.
VR exposure.
VR.
therapy.
Like a virtual spider crawling up your hand.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, hell with
that's the way to do it.
But the thing is, like, my degree of
escape that
claustrophobia has zero effect on my day-to-day life. The
Right.
only time it really hit me was when the first time I got an MRI scan.
Ooh.
You know, and I had to go
yeah.
all the way in. It's just the idea of I'm totally trapped. I am not in control.
Right.
Because I am helpless. I could not get myself out of that by myself. You know what I mean?
That's an awful feeling.
Yeah.
But I got through it. I mean, I would be able to, just close my eyes, go to my happy place. I got through it, but it was not pleasant. And then I definitely, like, when I watch TV shows, like horror shows, where there is an element of claustrophobia, that definitely freaks me out more than other sources of horror or anxiety. So, like, that rat one, like when the guy crawls into the hole, like, no, why would you ever do that? No way.
Even going after
would do that.
The treasure he was going after. Well, how about this? I jumped out of a plane like 20 years ago. I wouldn't do that shit again. Fuck that. I wouldn't jump out of a plane now.
I mean, I've been hit with the fear of height. When I was at the Needle, in Ontario.
Yeah.
And there's that one section where the floor is glass.
Oh, forget it.
Oh, glass.
And
floors.
you look down,
Jay.
and there's nothing beneath you. It's like, that's like just a primal fear. I mean, I could do it. I was able to do it.
Steve, as you know, that's like Jay on the plank in the VR helmet.
Yeah, Jay bailed. I was able to do that too.
He ripped it off his head like, screw that.
Jay, we got to go to China and walk over that bridge, that glass bridge, where it makes the fake cracking noises and stuff. That way we talk
Look,
about.
I felt high anxiety just watching the video.
I know, that's the thing. You see these people like struggle and break down into tears. It's horror. It's horrific to watch that.
Your brain's hardwired for certain fears, and that is one of them.
Oh.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's right.
In Fallout, I have the VR version of Fallout in addition to the regular version of Fallout 4. Like, if you're in Power Army, you can jump off a building, and the Power Armor will keep you from taking.
It's freaky in VR.
Oh my God! Like, you are, because it's realistic enough. It's like you fucking are falling off that building.
So the subtle start to the fall and then the acceleration, the whole
it's
gut
realistic enough that it gets you. It totally gets you. But I can do it.
Pit of your stomach rising.
Yeah, you feel that in the pit of your stomach.
Oh,
like for a moment, your brain's like, "You're gonna die,"
Yeah, it's those rides where they bring you up, in the seats, and then they just let you go.
Brains are so
and
stupid.
You just fall. Free fall.
I took my kids to an
oh
amusement park over the summer, and they had one that I tried where your legs are hanging. You're like basically sitting in a seat, but your legs are dangling out. You're not in a car.
Is it a roller coaster, or is it a?
It was an underneath roller coaster, so you're riding on below the rail.
Right. Oh, those are great.
And I knew intellectually that my legs were not going to hit anything.
Yeah.
You still curl them up?
Oh my! But I couldn't stop myself from doing it. Like, you just instinctively bring your legs away from what seems like danger, even though you intellectually know that I'm 6 feet tall. Like, there's just no way my legs are going to touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those are good. Those things are good because that's how we instinctively protect ourselves.
Yeah. like Magic Mountain in that roller coaster in the dark. I feel like I'm going to hit my head on something, even though there's no way that's going to happen.
Jay, remember we did
Don't stand up in that ride.
the Katoomba, the funicular in Australia?
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
That
Me and Jen,
53
were
degree
losing
pitch.
it.
Oh, it was bad. Going down, it was such a difference. Going down, I dealt with. Coming back up, though, when they're pulling you and you're riding it backwards and you're looking,
Yeah.
No,
thinking
forget
that
it.
this one table basically is
Yeah.
everything in my life right now. That is a horrifying experience.
Yeah, it was scary. It scared the crap out of me. But
It
I
was.
don't know. Part of me likes to have to deal with my fears.
Yeah.
You know, like I like to see how well I can contain myself, and I could feel. So, Steve, what are the two parts of your brain? You have your frontal,
Amygdala.
The outside and the inside.
your amygdala, and your
Right.
cerebral cortex, right?
Oh.
Well, there's more than that, but yeah, I mean, in terms of fear, you have the limbic system, the amygdala. That's where the fear comes from. Your frontal lobes are your executive function, which you could use to override that. So that's sort of the part that's trying to tamp it down.
And the question is, which one is stronger? That's
Yeah.
the question. Everybody's different.
And, yeah, right. And and fears have different strength of reaction.
Oh, Fred Bremer said that he was on that ride with us. He was with us on that.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you
We
remember
had a
those
huge
screams?
crew that day. That was a lot of fun. Fred, I want to know, were you shitting a brick too, or were you okay with that? All right, so
Should we take
guys,
a question?
let's take some questions. Yeah, because I have
we'll go
dinner
soon
waiting
and-
for me, and I am starving.
Okay, here's a question. Is there a hill that you once were willing to die on that you now realize was total nonsense?
Bunker Hill.
I'm sure I have a lot.
Total nonsense. Like, how far back do we have to go? Pretty much everything I believed as a kid, I
15
don't believe
months.
anymore.
Well,
So,
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would have to.
Probably as an adult, let's say.
yeah, as an adult, I don't know. That's a good one.
I don't know that I ever pitched a flag on a hill. I don't know that I was ever so devoted to one thing that turned out to be
Yeah.
so wrong.
I have an answer. I definitely was in a relationship that I was fighting for and completely believed in that was complete BS.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's mine.
I mean, I remember betting that there'd be a flying car by like the early 2000s, and I think I bet some money on it too. But I made that bet like in the late 80s, so it seemed reasonable at that time. But Jesus, no.
What's next?
Next question, please.
There was a question from a while ago about Pfizer buying an app that could diagnose COVID via a cough. How sciencey or snake oily is it?
I have not read into that. It sounds like bullshit. First blush. I mean, the face validity is extremely low. I'd have to take a look at it. I mean, diagnose it by a cough. Like there's this.
Is there any
Like it's
precedent
drier versus wetter cough? I don't know.
for that? Is there,
I
is
mean-
there any? This would have to be a totally new technology, right? Totally new.
I mean, there
I've
are
never heard of
some.
this.
There are some diseases that have a diagnostic cough, right?
From
The big one
sound
being
or-
whooping cough. Like the name of the
Ah.
disease is the cough, right? Because it does give you, just the way it affects the airways and the lungs. Like you cough so bad that then you you have to take this
like an
deep
asthma
breath at
attack
the end.
almost,
Yeah. So, but I mean, having seen people with COVID, having had COVID, whatever, it's a freaking cough. I don't know that it's so distinctive that you could make a diagnose based on that. Doesn't sound cromulent. But I could be convinced by evidence, but I would be very skeptical of that claim.
Let's see. You went to a Catholic high school. How challenging were you with the teachers? Was the non-religious curriculum superior to public?
So our Catholic high school was a prep school, and it was very, very high quality. It was a good school. We had a great education there, and the education itself was not religious. It was a standard, prep school
Right.
kind of education.
Well, you had to
But
take a religion
because we
class.
were Catholic, we had to take one theology class every year. And that was fine. I actually really enjoyed
Yeah,
theology.
we learned about the Bible. I mean, how
We
many
learned
people
about
actually
we learned about
take a class about
the Bible and
I
ethics
took,
and
yeah, I
some
took a
comparative
theology class in
religion stuff.
college.
It was
in terms of
good
quality,
education. It wasn't really indoctrination. First of all, it was Jesuit. I don't know if you know anything about the Jesuits, but they're very scholarly, or they're not the magic Catholics. They're really the more academic, scholarly Catholics.
Yeah, actually, and
Still believe in
also
magic, but that's as
Yeah.
far as the range, the
Resurrection
spectrum
and
of
all.
Catholic. Jesuit is it's not like evangelical or anything like that.
I took a course where they compared theology, and
Yeah,
it
that's
was
great.
comparative, and that was very beneficial. I learned a ton
Yeah.
from that course.
in terms
That's the
of
best way to make
quality-
atheists is to teach comparative theology.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Steve, in terms of quality of education, one memory I have was people that had left the school and went to a public school, and I remember
Yeah.
them saying that we're doing a tenth of the work and we're getting straight A's. So take that for
Oh,
what
it's
it's worth.
competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said, who was the skeleton in the Halloween photo? Which Halloween photo? Is it Scott? He said, who was the skeleton in this Halloween photo? Okay. The skeleton was Steve, and
This is when we were kids.
the monster,
was-
the
I
dark
was-
wig and makeup, that was me. So okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I know what you're referring to. So okay.
The kid one. Oh.
All right, one more.
What do you think the odds are of Artemis 1 actually launching this time?
4-1.
We have to predict the
I
weather.
think it's
and stuff.
pretty good. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
really
yeah.
just.
Say, who am I, Jay? While I'm eating, say 1 in 30.
That's
say-
the captain of the October.
60%.
Oh, Red
I'd say
October?
60%.
Yes.
Child chances
are
1 in
1
3.
in 3. More tea. Yeah. So right, and I what they had a computer glitch or a cable or something that scuttled the first time, and can't remember. Did weather impact the attempt to relaunch that one? Unfavorable weather conditions. I can't recall the exact history of why it's been scrubbed.
Recall that, yeah.
Longevity, escape velocity.
So-
will that occur in our lifetime? Unfortunately,
No.
probably not.
Oh, escape velocity. What,
Well,
you
in
mean?
terms of longevity,
Meaning that you
longevity
extend
research.
your life a certain enough
Oh.
that
You can get
then you get to the next
therapy.
breakthrough. Then you live to the next breakthrough to the point where basically you're
Right.
can live
So that's
forever. But
unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
Maybe, hopefully, our kids.
no, not even our kids.
Hmm.
Maybe our grandkids.
That's why you got to make the most
Yeah.
out of what you got right now.
60 or 70 years, you don't think we'll have any
No.
therapies?
That
Totally
is
wrong.
not to the point where we're going to basically live forever. No.
No, I mean a therapy that could add,
Reverse
a
cell
decade
aging.
or two.
A decade or two. Yeah, I mean
That's what escape velocity is all about, Steve. You enhance lifespan
You
by
just
just
need to-
enough to make it to the next therapy. So an extra, 10, 20 years.
not enough.
It's,
They're not going to come that fast and furious. That kind of.
They're not even close to anything.
I would say
like
it
that.
depends on artificial.
Now, remember the
artificial intelligence.
Problems get exponentially harder too, and believe me, this is one of those problems.
Oh yeah, It's
We
gonna be
believe you.
tough.
On
Well-
that note, have a great night, guys. Have a great weekend.
right,
I'll see you.
Indian
Yes.
food,
See
here
you
I come.
tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
See you guys
Happy
tomorrow.
belated
See you
Halloween.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Friday
Ian.
live streams are fun.
Friday Live. That's right. Bye bye, chat.
Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Bye bye.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.
No, listen to me. Listen to me. You overpaid for Twitter. I'm telling you.
Evan.
I gotta go.
Evan.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Don't let him know.
That was a wrong number.
There's a guy.
Hi.
Hello.
Alan.
So Jay, you're sacrificing your food time right now for the the live post extreme show, and
Mhm.
I'm very grateful to
Elimination
you for that.
challenge.
Yeah, we have to make an
appreciate your
appearance.
sacrifice. We
Sure.
do.
Got to make the appearance.
We do.
Mhm.
The secret is still a secret. It is still intact as far as I know.
Mhm.
They
you know, between
continue to be
us-
clueless.
Clueless.
I mean, gosh, for all their intelligence and their brilliance, and you know, where I
Here we
awe
go.
in how much Bob knows and what Steve knows and everything. For some things that they can't figure out that this is happening, it's something about that. Like,
I really thought they'd know by now.
puzzle
I
piece.
thought that it wouldn't. I didn't think it was going to last this long. But it's funny. They're gonna when they finally find out and they're like, "What'd you talk about?" You know, I want to make it so they feel compelled to go and look at everyone and see.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
That's right. That's right. Something there will one day something will spark it. It will be a conversation that they have to go back and revisit, or something will be the impetus for them to ultimately
Maybe.
figure this out.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I had to do it myself last time, although Andrea was almost there.
Oh, wait, did she find out?
Now Andrea was like dipped right before.
Oh, she got. Oh,
Yeah.
she almost.
Yeah, that was when I had to
We
leave
had to
early
bounce.
that day.
Hackman, there's a live button now on YouTube. If anybody who's on YouTube and is confused about the UI, they changed it. And now
yeah.
instead of live streams being under the video section, it is under a live menu item.
Right.
So it's a little bit strange, but whatever.
So Ev, you are going to the party tomorrow.
I will be there. Absolutely.
Oh, great.
In costume.
I'm psyched. I'm psyched that you guys are coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I can't. When were the all of us and Ian all together at the same time? When was that? It was at the. Oh, Kara won't be there, but
that was
really?
that was
it
New York
the
City
live stream.
in Boston.
In New York.
No,
Oh,
you're
was
right.
it that? Yeah. Is
Nexus.
George coming? George isn't making it, is he?
No, George is not coming.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it'll be nice to see you all again. But I think it was August. I think the last time maybe I saw all you guys together.
Well, we were
at
in the
Steve's
studio
house.
during
Yeah, in the
Nexus.
studio.
Yeah,
that was
would've
probably
been
it. But you know, that was work and you know, for fun and all. But it wasn't a party.
So, guys, I ordered a beard 6 weeks ago on Amazon.
Beard.
Beard, you know, fake beard,
Oh.
and it's going to come Sunday.
Little beer. Oh.
I ordered it 6 weeks ago.
That's
Cooking
correct.
time.
That's why. What?
I need a beard.
Yeah.
And
I get that,
try and
but-
get a beard
Grow it.
after Halloween. Just try and
Try
get
to
one.
get it.
Forget
Mhm.
it.
You need a transplant. Just shave your head and put it around it.
I might have to try to paint one on myself. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, that's good.
So Jay, as you know, I'll be appearing as Ben Kenobi tomorrow evening.
Good.
My
That's
costume.
great.
That's not a surprise to anyone because the picture was already revealed back in Halloween. And I told some people, I said I'm going to try as much as I can to only communicate at the party using Ben Kenobi lines from Star Wars: A New Hope.
That's what you're going to
And
try to do?
I'm going to try to make it relevant, right? Not just just saying anything off
Okay.
the cuff, but if anytime a line seems appropriate, I'm most certainly going to make every attempt to put it in there as much as I possibly can.
I am looking forward
It'll
to
get
this.
tiresome by the second hour, I'm sure. And
Maybe not. It might be hysterical, and it could be good, or if it could be a joke like that only certain people will be aware of.
So
Yeah.
Star Wars is one of the movies I've seen more times probably than many other movies in my life. It's definitely up there, top 10. I must have seen it 100 times. So the other day, while I was doing some yard work and some mundane stuff, and going through the movie in my head, right, Jay? If you could you recite the dialogue of the movie in your head and say it all out? If you took effort, you could probably get a good chunk of it. I'd say
I could get a very good chunk of the first Star Wars movie, and I think I could do a really good job of writing down scene for scene the order in which the movie happens in.
Right, but also specifically the dialogue, and because that's what I was thinking. So I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, so if I'm going to say the Ben Kenobi lines, let me go through the movie, every Ben Kenobi scene from the first time he says "Hello there," is his first or the first words that he says, and of course it ends with the last lines he says, "Or the Force will be with you always." So I tried to go through it to see how well I could do. I'm going to watch the movie again tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of grade myself to see exactly how I did, because I think I did pretty well.
That's one hell of an achievement if you could do that. Let me know how it turns out.
I'll let you know tomorrow. It'll be evident.
All right, that's a wrap.
Yep,
We will see you guys maybe next week. We're going to try to get some type of predictable schedule. It's everybody. It's hard for all of us to be available. That's the problem.
Yeah, and the holidays are coming up. We're going to be on the road in come December, certainly. So there will be a little bit of
planning another Boomer versus Zoomer December 2nd. Everybody,
that's correct.
Yeah. People like. That's what we're
that'd
planning
be fun.
So a little Christmas Boomer.
All right, but I hope we can do this again in a week. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, folks.
Good night.
See you next bat time.
Bye, Jay. Bye, Ian.
Bye.
So long.
There's Jay.
Finally.
We
want some alone time with you, Ian.
Oh, okay.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.